Hi everyone, today is December 12th, 2020, and this is the Duel Assessment, your podcast for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. My name is Green Ranger. This week, a lot of stuff going on. We have new character. We finally got Axel Brodie in the beginning of the week. So going over his level up cards, we have new miniBOX, Rage of the Volcano. Go over those URs and SRs and some other notable cards from that set, and just a whole new meta. Nerfs aren't officially live, so you're going to see them on the ranked ladder every so often, but they're live for the tournament scene. And we have a lot of movers and risers as a result of those nerfs. A lot of new decks going in, completely wild meta. Some of the old decks are still around. Other decks rumored to be dead aren't dead. So let's go over all of that. This week in the Duel world, I am at Legend 2. I've bought the Noble Knight box. Only 2 copies of the Noble Knight box. I didn't feel like spending another $7 or so on the 3rd copy of Merlin and the trap card as well. So playing this budget-y version as I normally do, and got to Legend 2. Noble Knights are notoriously hard to play, so I can't really say I've mastered anything. I'm just playing dumb right now, going in stronger than a lot of other decks in the meta right now. People don't really feel like playing Shiranui a ton, even though I just faced one. But yeah, going through with Noble Knights right now. I might pick up something later on, but right now it's the best option to win. And like I said, it's a tough deck to play. Playing against the mirror, I really don't know the right moves and skills and things like that. So I'm still figuring it out. And I don't have the optimal deck, of course, so I'm not expecting to hit Kingdom games right now. I also did the event. I finished the DD Castle Assault. Got 3 copies of all my cards. Leveling up Brodie right now. Yeah. Special shout out this week to listener Devin. Devin commented on the website, theduelassessment.wordpress.com. Joining the podcast, wished me all the best and happy holidays. Happy holidays to you, Devin. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the comments. Yeah, we'll dedicate this to Devin. So let's get to Esports this week. Meta Weekly 154. And we've gotten the arrival of Desperado, or the reintroduction of Desperado. Desperado and Noble Knights tied for the top 32 with 5 apiece. Black Wings, Blue Eyes, Neos, still around, a whole mix of things. The meta is completely unsettled right now. New box dropped in 2, so we'll see how it all shakes out. And of course, Duel Links meta has their MCS tomorrow, so that's going to be interesting to see what comes up. First place, this translates it to Dead God, Master of Destiny, Desperado. You don't really see an exact build for this deck yet, but here's an idea of a deck. 3 copies of Desperado, Barrel Dragon, 3 Machina Fortress, 2 Twin Barrel, 1 Temperance, 1 BM4 Blast Spider, 1 Misjudge, 2 Cup of Ace, 1 Fiend Comedian, 1 Head Judging, 2 Karma Cuts, 3 Super Team Buddy Force Unite. Also an Xyz extra deck, Gaga Ga Cowboy, Kachi Kochi Dragon, Maestro the Symphony Jin, number 39 Utopia, Diamond Direwolf, number 50 Black Ship of Corn, and Evagishki Marrowgeist. Really, this player has put in the best coin flipping cards. There's some that's kind of on the fence. Fiend Comedian's a card that could scoop. You could just kill your opponent, remove all the cards in their graveyard. Pretty good against some of the meta decks right now. 3 copies of Machina Fortress. You don't see this every day. 3 copies of that card. Karma Cut's a card you're starting to see in the deck. Super Team Buddy Force Unite is what made the deck. Second place, Zenzo Level Reduction. Nothing particularly notable here, except there's no copies of Zephyros the Dark. Back then, you would see some kind of combination of Boar the Spear, Chris the Crack of Dawn, and Zephyros the Dark. This one doesn't have it. Nothing too crazy in this deck, though. Pinaki, 2 copies of Harmattan, 1 copy of Orochi the Squall, to name some of the cards that are in the deck. Top 4, Danny Blaze, Infernity, Inferno, Infernities. So, this is basically an Infernity deck with a new addition. Probably the best card in the new box, that's Badland Boxer Veil. Another stall tool, an upgraded stall tool. There's no Kite Voids in this deck or anything, so that card is given some stall strategies for all these decks that do need it, like Infernities, who stall and OTK you. And top 4, Fetty Guap, Balanced Noble Knights. Noble Knights are cracking into the meta. This is a 30 card version. I'm not sure if this is the best version. It probably isn't. But we've got balance going on here. 3 Madrot, 1 Dristan, 3 Merlin, 2 Boars, 1 Noble Knight Brothers, and 1 Gwen Hwai Far. In terms of the spells, you got 2 Hey Trunades for the semi-limit, 3 Glory of the Noble Knights, 2 Arfaduder, 2 Caliburn, 2 Gallatin, 2 Noble Arms. And the trap cards, they need 6, 3 Karma Cuts, and 3 Until Noble Arms are needed once again. And then the extra deck, we have 2 Sacred Noble Knight of King Artorigus, 1 Artorigus himself, 1 Maya Stroke, 1 Gaga Samurai, 1 Black Ship of Corn, and 1 Evagishki Marrowgeist. The extra deck is a bit curious. They usually do have 2 of the level 5, 1 of the level 4, and then 4 slots to pick whatever you want. You get to build your XZ's deck the way you want. And yeah, pretty standard shell, if you will, to build Noble Knights if you have 3 copies of everything. Alright, let's talk about another tournament. It's a combination of 2 things, Giraffe and Dual World Pro Series Invitational number 1. First place, Rystar, Master of Destiny, Desperado. This one has Machina Gear Frame, which is a card you do see in some decks, but it's not required. I mean, if you're running Machina Fortress, you're buying the same box, so you probably do have a Machina Gear Frame. Yeah. Second place, Snifus Balance Witchcrafters. Through all the nerfs, this is a Lightsworn Witchcrafter deck, which you didn't really expect to see. So, what it is there's fewer mill cards than ever, but there is Needlebug Nest. I guess the Lightsworn package is pretty much shot here. There's no Luminas in this deck. It's 2 Madame Vare, 1 Edel, 3 Schmeta, 2 Jenny, 3 Pittori, 1 Raiden, and 1 Minerva. That's it. 1 Charge of Light Brigade, 1 Needlebug Nest. A lot of trap cards. This deck is built a little bit different and has let Witchcrafters survive. Notably, in the side deck, there's 3 copies of Forbidden Dress. Target 1 face-up monster in the field. It cannot be destroyed by target. It cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. Okay. It could be something to count for in the meta against Desperado. I think so. This could be interesting. Forbidden Dress could be attack against Desperado. Something to think about. Top 4, Brent, Master of Destiny, Desperado. This one's got Cryule. It's probably one of the not so good coin flippers, but it's perfectly acceptable in the deck. And top 4, Kanda, Level Duplication, Cristrons. Cristrons have seemed to survive the nerfs, though they look completely different. This deck is super lean, 22 cards. It's missing a lot of cards that we did see in Cristrons. It's so remarkable to talk about it. In terms of the Cristrons themselves, 3 copies of Crystron Solfafnir, 1 Smiger, 3 Fist Vern, 1 Citri, 1 Rosenix, 1 Ryan, 1 Praise Turtle, 1 Quan, and Crystron Entry. So basically there's a semi-limit split between Citri and Ryan. Quan has made it into the tuner as a level 1 tuner. And then there's a lot of cards that just help. There's a lot of synchro helpers. 3 Psychic Wielder, 2 Psychic Tracker, 2 Cockle-Doodle-Doo. So all these cards do help with the setting up of synchro plays, and 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone. Extra deck, we got 1 Quistron Quadrant Gandrix, 1 Brionic, 1 Coral Dragon, 1 Gungnir, 1 Paladin Zectron, 1 Samurai Destroyer, and 1 Crystron Amatrix. So, new meta, new tier list. We see the rise of Desperado shooting up into tier 1. Not surprising, you see it in ranked. Everyone's favorite coin flipping deck has vaulted from tier 4 straight to tier 1. And it was a deck you could build without buying the boxes, frankly. You could just, the structure decks, you could have used like a lot of UR tickets on Desperado, Barrel Dragon. Tier 2 is really crowded here. We got Noble Knights, Black Wings, Blue Eyes, Ritual Beasts. Previous tier 1 decks, Witchcrafter and Cyber Dragon, didn't enjoy that spot for long. They've been dropped to tier 2, so super crowded. Very unsettled meta. It's going to change after the MCS. Tier 3, we have the promotion of Crystons and Thunder Dragons have stayed. And off the tier list are Gookie. We're seeing a different battle type deck, the Battle and Boxers. Similar to Gookie, but Gookie are more reliant on trap cards. Alright, before we get into the real content of Duel Links, wanted to point out the winners of the accessory popularity poll. Unfortunately, Dark Magician has won the Ace Monster category, and then Elemental Hero has won the Popular Archetype category. That's the more competitive one, where there were like 40 different archetypes to pick from. So we're going to be getting these accessories. People still love Dark Magician. It got nerfed. Now it lives on in a playmat. And Elemental Heroes, there's a bunch of them to pick from. Probably the basic ones are going to make it. I can't wait for that. Alright, let's talk Axel Brodie. This is what we've all been waiting for. I didn't watch all of GX. I know Axel Brodie comes in Season 3. Originally a bad guy. Becomes a good guy. And that struggle in the Dark World where they're trying to save Jaden and stuff. Him and Jim, they really stepped up. Eventually he gets sacrificed. But Jaden gets back there and they do the whole thing. And he combines with Bell. Pretty epic story. But Axel Brodie, yeah, we got fire types, gun guy, military guy, and also a guy a lot of people can relate to. And I guess it's good to have representation in a game, and having a black or person of African descent, in which a lot of people who do like Yu-Gi-Oh! Can identify with. So it's good to have people that in character representation games of people that can identify with. So all these things work towards Axel's favor. And with the nerfs to the burn decks, his cards when they were coming into the game would have been too strong. Like various burn type strategies would have been unfair, bad to play against, but they seem to have prepared for it well, and nerfing everything by half. And of course, I came along with the XD's world. I guess they're planning to release Axel and all these cards ahead of time, and they think he's not overpowered with what we have here. We don't know. Someone could find an exploit. Someone could be smarter. We've got the smartest players here, and they could find something good that could exploit these burn cards. But let's go through these cards. Most of them do have some kind of burn strategy going on. We'll see. So, 6 new cards here. We got 2 copies of a spell called Soul of Fire. Your opponent draws 1 card. Select 1 Pyro monster from your deck, remove it from play. Inflict damage to your opponent equal to a quarter of the attack of the removed monster. If you activate this card, you cannot declare an attack this turn. So the TCG version would have been unplayable. I think it's half. You inflict half of the damage, so that would be like 1500. I looked up the pyros and Duel Links. There's two pyros with 3000 attack, and that's Volcanic Doomfire and Subterra Behemoth Ultramophis. So a quarter of 3,000, 750. That's not bad. Born the Hinotama. Hinotama has sort of become the gold standard. It's kind of sad, if that's the truth. That's because the box released a bunch of cards that are worse than Hinotama. I don't know how it's possible, but it has happened. This Soulfire, if you have your two big 3000 beater pyros, this card 750. But then you can't attack, so 750 burn for one turn. I guess they deem that as fair. So burn decks are going to try to cram this card in whenever they can, and this also might have use in a fatigue deck where you're trying to mill your opponent. So, worm decks. This could fit those decks. Dark Bribe, things of that nature would force your opponent to draw. So, this has a little bit of sneaky potential play. Yeah, we'll see. Next card is Fire Trooper, level 3, Fire Warrior, 1000, 1000. When this card is summoned, you can send it to the graveyard to inflict 500 damage to your opponent. Now, this card's pretty bad when you're normal summoning because you're pretty much wasting a body for a Hinotama. And you're going to get attacked next turn with nothing on the board to protect you. That's just bad if you waste your normal summon. You would like to abuse this card by making a special summon. And there's various ways you could do it with things that just revive stuff. So one idea is like a powerful rebirth. Then you could bring this back with marginally more attack. And it can attack your opponent again. I mean, it could burn your opponent down again for 500. Ways to keep bringing things back for cheap. Or you could special summon it with like a UFO turtle. None of these ways are easy. So that's what makes this card not that good. If you continually bring it back with some kind of like continuous trap card, that would be pretty effective, but I see it as pretty clunky. Next card is Volcanic Counter. We get 3 copies of this card. It's a level 3 Pyro, 300, 1300. When you take battle damage while this is in your graveyard, banish it. Then if there's a fire monster other than Volcanic Counter, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the amount of battle damage you took. Excuse me. This card is fine for the Blaze Accelerator and Tri-Blaze Accelerator strategies. The Volcanic Shell got nerfed, I believe. It was put on the semi-limit list, so that was in an attempt to slow down Invoke decks. It didn't work. But this card, you could toss it. Use the Blaze Accelerator or Tri-Blaze Accelerator to destroy something, burn them down a little bit, and then you could just use this as material. You banish it from the graveyard, and then you inflict even more damage when you take damage. So it's a little situational. You're kind of playing behind because you're getting hit, but you're hitting them back. So this could be effective with another card with the Battling Boxer Veil. So you heal yourself back, and then you burn them down. This is definitely a fine card for that strategy, that Blaze Accelerator strategy. Our next card is probably the lamest card that we get from him. 3 copies of Solar Flare Dragon, level 4, Pyro, 1500, 1000. While you control another Pyro monster, this card cannot be attacked. During each of your end phases, inflict 250 damage to your opponent. So, basically, you're trying to protect this guy, 1500, and you're trying to burn them for 250 each turn. It's not enough. Even when you pack in all your burn cards, the most effective ones, this one's probably not going to cut it. Next card is Volcanic Scattershot. We get 3 copies of this card. Level 2 Pyro, 500 attack, 0 defense. If this is sent to the graveyard, inflict 250 damage to your opponent. If this is sent to the graveyard by the effect of a Blaze Accelerator, you can send 2 Volcanic Scattershots from your hand or deck to the graveyard. Destroy all monsters your opponent controls. This is useful It's more ammunition for the Blaze Accelerator and Tri-Blaze Accelerator, but then you could thin your deck, dump 2 cards from the deck, and you could wipe your opponent's board. So, burn strategies are cool and all, but at some point they're going to beat you down. This is a way to protect yourself, I guess, to protect yourself from getting beat down while you're trying to burn your opponent. So, useful card. Definitely we run 3 of because you need to thin your deck at the same time. So, very useful card. Finally, the last card we got 1 copy of. It's a continuous spell called Volcanic Wall. Once per turn, you can send 3 cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard. If you do, inflict 250 damage to your opponent for each pyro monster sent to the graveyard by this effect. You cannot declare an attack during the turn you activate this effect. Pretty good. Self-milling there. Pyro monsters like Lavels. Lavels get out their effects off by milling. Perfect card to do that for that deck. Some fire monsters also abuse effects in the graveyard. They come out like the Fire Spirit. There's various ones, various very early cards like Bonfire Colossus. They function with stuff in the graveyard too. So you could inflict 750 damage to your opponent, mill 3, special summon stuff for the graveyard. This is a very good card. That's why they limit it at 1. It says level 45 reward. So if you're dying to get this card, you have to grind out Axel right now. Use your EXPs on the Vagabonds. All that stuff. Grind out that Volcanic Wall. I mean, there's no other character to use right now. Might as well just grind out all you can with them right now. So, yeah, pretty good card. We only get 1 of it, though. That hurts the consistency of the card, and that's the purpose. Okay, so those are all the cards from Brodie. I know Volcanic Doomfire and is a main box card from Primal Burst, so can't really play with that card, but give you a bunch of other skills to use those cards. But skills we'll have to wait till next week because in an effort to spread out the content, not get too repetitive, I'm going to split his duel skills to next week. So he has a lot of duel skills, and I think we'll find out if they're good, if it's even played at the MCS. So yeah, we'll find out what the standout skills are, if there are any. We've had pretty much characters with pretty bad duel skills. Yeah, so we'll see what those are later, next week. Let's get to the Rage of Volcano miniBOX. This is one of those mini boxes that it was kind of obvious that nothing really stood out. And the card that really stood out actually was an R rarity card. So we're going to talk about that at the end. But this is a fire-themed box. Goes along well with Axel. And I guess the archetypes. Battling Boxers. Almost all the Battling Boxers. We got a full set here. Hazy Flames. That's a revival of that. And just various random fire cards. Can't really say anything else was Flame Veils, that's fire, I guess. Yeah, not much. Let's get to the URs and SRs, and of course, in a mini box, URs and SRs are the same. Let's get to it. So first card is number 61, Volcasaurus. It's a dinosaur, rank 5, fire, 2500, 1000. 2 level 5 monsters. Once per turn, detach an XZ's material from this card. Target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. Destroy that monster. If you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half of the destroyed monster's original attack. This card cannot attack your opponent directly the turn you activate this effect. This is a very... there's a card that's very similar to this. That was released in the last box. That was that Dark Fiend, rank 5 XZ's monster, Adrius, Keeper of Armageddon. Very similar cards. Both generic 2 level 5 monsters. Any 2 level 5 monsters. This is a fire dinosaur, 2500 attack. And then you can inflict burn on the face-up monster. So they have to have a face-up monster you inflict burn. And then you can hit in something else. So this is a fairly aggressive card. Now Adrius, 2600 attack, Dark Fiend. It can hit face-up spells and traps, like Necro Valley, for example. So anything face-up, spells or traps, and then it can attack whatever. It can attack directly. I give the edge to Adrius, Keeper of Armageddon, more useful card. Volcasaurus can win you a game, though, so it could just, like, it could end your opponent right there. Both are cards in the rank 5 Xyz toolbox. I expect decks that can get rank 5s out to run both of these cards because they're useful in different situations. Volcasaurus can scoop you a game. Adrius better for controlling the board. Right now, rank 5 toolbox. Noble Knights can do it. If Cyber Dragons can stay afloat and run more Cyber Dragons, they could do it. There's a various level 5 monsters that can ramp themselves onto the board, like Oracle of the Sun, for example. So the Tricky, for example, various cards that can get themselves onto the board as a level 5. So both of the Volcasaurus and Adrius are both in consideration for rank 5 toolbox deck. Next card is Coach Soldier Wolfbark. Level 4 Fire Beast Warrior 1600 1200. You can target one level 4 Fire Beast Warrior monster in your graveyard, special summon and defense. Its effects are negated. You can use this effect once per turn. Classic Xyz summoning helper here. There's two archetypes that work well with this. There's this level 4 Fire Beast Warrior. That's the Fire Fist and the Fire King. Yeah, I think all of those cards are Fire Beast Warriors. I'm not sure if they're all level 4, but they're all Fire Beast Warriors. So this card's playability all hinges on whether those cards are viable. If Fire Kings can be more than a crutch for yugioh, they could become a real deck. Fire Fists have proven that they're not a real deck, so I don't know how viable this card is, frankly. Now, the last UR card is Rekindling. It's a normal spell. Special summon from your graveyard as many fire monsters as possible with 200 defense, but banish them during the end phase of this turn. It's surprising how many fire monsters have exactly 200 defense. It seems like it's a theme with those guys. It's kind of like how zombies have 0 defense, but fire monsters have 200. And this gets set up some Xyz summoning. You could do a Fire Fists, Fire Kings, Flame Veils, Hazy Flames, Lavels. All these cards, a lot of them just have 200 defense. So, pretty useful card if you're playing a deck that specializes in those archetypes for some quick Xyz summoning. Now let's get to the SRs. Number 79, Battling Boxer Nova Kaiser. Rank 4, Fire Warrior, 2 level 4 monsters of any type, 2300, 1600. Once per turn, you can attach one Battling Boxer monster from your hand or graveyard to this card as Xyz material. This card gains 100 attack for each Xyz material attached to it. When this card you control is destroyed by your opponent's card by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can target level 4 or lower Battling Boxers in your graveyard up to the number of Xyz materials this card had on the field. Special summon those targets. This is the boss monster for Battling Boxers, and it's not very impressive at all. While it is a generic level 4, you're only going to play this in Battling Boxers, so it's not very useful outside of the archetype. Gains 100 attack for each Xyz material. It's going to be 2500. And it gets destroyed, you just recover them. That's all it is, really. It has the ability to add more Xyz materials, so it has some synergy with generic Xyz helper traps, like Xyz Block, Xyz Wrath in this box, so not too exciting. This is like a pretty lame boss monster for the archetype. Of course, they have other effects that power them, like Counterpunch hits 1,000, but you know, there's a lot on the line to make it work, and there's pretty much no effect on this card. Like it's just gonna gain 200 attack. That's all it is. It's a pretty bad card. Now, in contrast, this one's a little better. Hazy Flame Basilatris. level rank 6 pyro, 2 or more level 6 fire monsters, 2500 attack, 1800 defense. Once per turn, detach an Xyz material from this card. Target one monster your opponent controls or is in the graveyard, banish it. This card gains effects based on the number of Xyz materials attached. If you have 3 or more, this card gains 200 attack and defense for each Xyz material attached. 4 or more cannot be targeted by card effects. 5 or more cannot be destroyed by card effects. So this card's pretty much neutered in the way that it's the first card where you get to Xyz summon it with as many materials you want. But at the same time, you're constrained by how many slots are on the board. And in Duel Links, we only have 3 slots. So you could do 2 or 3 to start. If you do 2, it has none of those abilities, except for banishing stuff, which is totally fine. 3, you have full board of Hazy Flame monsters. It's going to gain 300 for each Xyz material. So it's going to start off as 3100, which is pretty good. It can kill Blue Eyes. Now those 4 and 5 is kind of becoming a Hazy Flame monster. You're going to need help with a field spell called Hazy Pillar to do that. So card's full potential is not locked. It seems like it's very win more. It is a banish. It does have the ability to banish, so it's kind of like a Michael Arclight Sworn without the mill ability, so it's a very similar card to that. Next card, Violon Die Sigma. Rank 4 Xyz, 3 level 4 monsters. The Fairy, 2500 attack, 2100 defense. Once per turn, you can attach an Xyz material from this card to target one face-up attack position, effect monster your opponent controls. Equip that target to this card. At the start of the damage step, this card battles a monster whose attribute is the same as that monster. Destroy that monster. This could be the best URSR in this group, in this whole box. I think I'm going to make a bold claim here. I've had some Ransom Gin, if they want to sponsor me. This could be the best rank 4 Xyz we have to date. Definitely the best one that requires 3 materials. It's better than Stellar Knight Delteros, I can tell you that. And it's like relinquished. You're stealing their monster, an effect monster that's in attack mode. It's like almost every monster. You could steal them, attach it. It's pretty much dead because you equip it. And then you get like an effect destruction bonus on an attribute that's the same. So most decks, they play an archetype. They're typically the same attribute. Now, Witchcrafters don't follow that rule. Most do. The Cyber Dragons follow that rule. Invoked typically don't. I'm trying to think of what's meta right now, but it's all scrambled. Blue Eyes do. They're all light. Desperado are mixed. Mostly dark and earth. Black Wings are all dark. Noble Knights are all light. You get the picture. This is pretty much relinquished on an Xyz monster. Pretty decent. You're going to want that as a toolbox card. So, I'm going to say it. Violent Die Sigma is probably the best rank 4 Xyz monster. Probably worth getting if you're getting anything from this box at all. Alright. Kiras, Keeper of Genesis, rank 5, Fairy, 2 level 5 monsters, 2600, 1700. This card's effects can only be applied or resolved while it has Xyz material. This card cannot be destroyed by card effects. At the end of the battle phase, if this card attacked or was attacked, target one card your opponent controls to destroy a target. During each of your end phases, detach an Xyz material from this card. This card does a little bit of everything, but not enough. It's like a Jack of all trades, but master of none. It can survive Black Rose Dragon, I guess. It can survive a banish. Situational control, and that's if it was attacked, target one card your opponent controls, destroy it. Sure. A little sticky. It can't be destroyed by card effects, sure. But it's not great at everything. It could be destroyed by battle. It could get banished. and then you're losing a material each turn, and then you lose all your abilities. It's just the 2600 at that point. So, and doing it with level 5 monsters, you're going to want a better monster. Like, the Volcasaurus is so much better, Adrius is so much better. Mediocre card. Alright, Battling Boxer Headgear. Level 4 Warrior, 1000 attack, 1800 defense. When this card is normal summoned, you can send one Battling Boxer from your deck to the graveyard. Once per turn, this face-up attack position card cannot be destroyed by battle. Main worker for the archetype. And it's not the best. You're going to want to send a card to the graveyard like Counterpunch or Glassjaw. Counterpunch is pretty much the one that you work off because they're going to gain 1000 attack during that damage step. So that's what that's the combat trick you want to use against your opponent. Glassjaw can help you with some card advantage stick. And really, Headgear is just to set up an Xyz play. That's kind of the goal of it. So you're going to send something to the graveyard, and then you're going to bring something back, and then you're going to do an Xyz play. So this is a very Xyz-centered archetype. It's unfortunate that their number 79 isn't that good, but because there's various level 4 monsters, you could do a level 4, level 3 with this archetype. So it's just the archetype to get into rank 4 Xyz plays. I'm not sure how good they are afterwards with their own effects. Doesn't seem too good. So there's an archetype that does rank 4 Xyz plays better than Battling Boxers, then there's pretty much no point in playing them. Unless you think they're cool and you want to play like Fire Warriors that punch things, that's pretty cool too. This card's pretty good. Fire King Avatar Arvitar, level 4 Beast Warrior, 1800-200, same stats as Fire King Avatar Yaksha. When a monster effect is activated while this monster is face up on the field, quick effect, negate the activation. If you do, destroy one other fire monster in your hand or field. If this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can target a Fire Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast in your graveyard except for this one. Special summon it, has its effects negated, can be destroyed at the end of the end phase. Really good card. This can make Fire King's deck outside of being a caddy for Yubel. And this card works particularly well with Sacred Phoenix of Nephis and or Fire King Avatar Garunix. Now this card does quick effect negation on an opponent's monster. Really good. Let's say to try to play Alistair, you could just negate it. A lot of cards gain advantage by going first, setting some stuff, and then negating them and winning. Pretty much the same thing, except you have initiative on a monster of 1800 attack. Negate that effect, they're pretty much powerless, and then you could scoop the game next turn. So, super strong card, probably the best Fire King we've seen. It's better than the whole Fire King Island, blow up your card, strategy. This works pretty well. Skip the whole point of having a field spell here. Next card, Star Drawing, level 4 Spellcaster, Earth, 1600-1000. If this card is used as an Xyz summon, you can treat it as a level 5. An Xyz monster that was summoned using this card as an Xyz material gains this effect. If it's Xyz summoned, draw a card. This is an interesting card. Generic rank 5 Xyz material being level 4. So it works best for a deck where you can do level 4 and level 5, so you have like rank 4 and rank 5 Xyz plays. Noble Knights come to mind, but they work so well on their own that this is more of like a generic card. Useful card though, you get card advantage out of it. It's kind of like Cockle-Doo-Doo, Psychic Tracker, those types of cards that help synchro decks. This is just a generic Xyz helper, +1 card advantage. I think it will see some play down the line. I don't know what though. Alright, next card's for the Battling Boxers. Battling Boxing Spirit, spell card. Send the top card of your deck to the graveyard, then target one Battling Boxer in your graveyard. Special summon that card in defense. You can use this once per turn. This works really well with Headgeared, and then you can set up an Xyz summon because Headgeared's going to dump something into the graveyard. Then you use this. You send the card back. You dump something else into the graveyard, target the card in the graveyard, special summon it. You could do your rank 4 Xyz play. Alright. Xyz Wrath, continuous trap. Once per turn, when a level 5 or higher monster's effect is activated, and you control an Xyz monster, discard a card, negate that effect. If you do, destroy that monster. This card's very situational. You have to have an Xyz monster on the board. You have to have a card to discard. And it has to be against a level 5 or higher monster. I think that's the worst part. So it's like a continuous Divine Wrath, except they have to be level 5 or higher to activate. Might as well run Divine Wrath, because then you can use it on those pesky level 4s. Saves deck slots, I guess. You're pretty much letting all their level 4 monsters get their effects off, which defeats the purpose of Divine Wrath, so I expect this card to see no play at all. Last SR card is Prideful Roar, trap card. During damage calculation, if your opponent battles an opponent's monster of a higher attack, pay life points equal to the difference in attack. Your monster gains attack equal to that difference plus 300 during damage calculation only. There's a similar card to this, but I don't remember what it is. Only use of this card is to lose life points, I think. You're going to beat them by 300, sure, whatever, combat trick. But you're paying probably a good number of life points that can help activate your duel skills. So I think that's the point of this card. Seems to be focused on losing life points. And for that, I think it's a pretty good card. I think it will see play in some capacity to help you trigger life points. Because if a Pointer of the Red Lotus is getting played, this probably will see some play. Alright, so some notable R's and N's. Let's go through the 4 remaining Xyz cards. Battling Boxer Cheat Commissioner. This card has no attack, 1300 defense, generic level 3. All monsters your opponent controls must attack, so it makes them like card curries. When you control another battling boxer, your opponent cannot target its card for attack, so it's protected. When an attack is declared involving another battling boxer you control, you can detach 2 Xyz materials, look at your opponent's hand, set a spell from their hand to your side of the field. More of a fun card than good. No attack, 1300 defense. You have to have another battling boxer that gets hit, and then you just steal their trap card spell card that's in their hand. Not sure if this will ever see any play, but it's more of a fun than good card. Number 19, Freezedon. Water Dinosaur, rank 5. 2 level 5 monsters, 2000 attack, 2500 defense. Once per turn, if an Xyz monster you control would activate an effect by detaching an Xyz material, you can detach one from this card instead. This card helps pay for other Xyz monsters, which is a little weird. Boring card. Bad stats. Helps pay for people. That's kind of lame. Alright. Lava Ignis. Rank 3 Warrior. 2 level 3 monsters. 1800, 1400. If this card attacks or is attacked during damage step in either player's turn, detach an Xyz material. Gain 500 attack. Very, not a great card. They are going to know if you're attacking into it to hit with something with at least 2400, I think. Not very good. This one's interesting. Infernal Flame Vixen, rank 4 Pyro, 2 Pyro monsters that are level 4, 2200, 2000. Once per turn, detach an Xyz material from this card. Gains 500 attack until your opponent's end phase. When this card with 2500 or more attack is destroyed, target 3 monsters in any graveyard to banish those targets. It seems like a card you want to intentionally destroy. You can detach an Xyz, it becomes 2700, and then you could use some ability like Kick Fire, and you destroy it. You could attack with her first, 2700, Kick Fire, and then banish stuff from your opponent's graveyard. I think this is a decent card. In the That seems to be the old meta, though. I don't know if it's useful anymore because Shiranui and Invoked got hit. I expect Necro Valley to be less good now. A card like this to be less good. It's interesting, though. But it only fits with Pyro, so that kind of limits her play overall. Two other cards, and here's the star of the deck. Star of this box. Battleland Boxer Veil. Level 4, Fire Warrior, 0 attack, 1800 defense. When you take battle damage, special summon this from your hand. If you do, gain life points equal to the damage you took. This is seemingly replacing Kiteroids. It'll save you from one attack, sure. It's stall. It's going to come out on the board as ramp. It'll protect you, it'll heal you. A lot of things going on here. And this looks like the best card in the box. All-purpose stall card. Puts a body to help you tribute summon next turn if you want. Rank 4 XZ's play if you want. Heals you, which has some synergy with other decks, but our mages do it better. It's just a good card. As long as your opponent's not hitting you for 4,000. It's a free body on the board for the cost of one card in your hand, which is break even, but saves you from a direct attack. One card this is really good against is the Chimera Tech Overdragon, because they're going to hit you, and then you heal yourself up. They're going to have to hit it again, and then they hit you once more. So you're pretty much saved from a full Chimera Tech Overdragon. This is going to see a lot of play. It being a fire type can help you in an Invoke deck as well. I mentioned before how Invoke decks without the water attribute, they're going to be pretty lean and just rely on Purgatrio. So the whole nerfed Invoked package is very small. You could package it with Boxer, Battleland Boxer Veil here as a fire attribute for Purgatrio. And that could just be your whole Invoked package. So, very good card. Alright, Hazy Pillar, field spell. Oh, it's continuous. I said it was a field spell, it's continuous. You can normal summon a Hazy Flame monster for one less tribute. Once per turn, target a face-up Xyz material you control. Attach one Hazy Flame monster from your hand or side of the field to that monster as Xyz material. So, this helps the Basiltris become better. You're going to Xyz summon the Hazel Flame Basiltris with 2 or 3 materials. This can help you get 4 or 5. And further, Hazy Pillar helps you accomplish what 3-star demotion was. The 3-star demotion Hazy Flame, Deck Tech tried to make that work forever. I'm pretty sure you got a few King of Games with that. And this card pretty much lets you do that easy. Saves you a lot of time. Alright, last interesting card is Jolt Counter Trap. During the battle phase, when a spell or trap or monster effect is activated, when you control Battleland Boxer, negate the effect if you do destroy that card. Now, a lot of cards, this type of counter trap exists for pretty much every archetype. Now we have them for Battleland Boxers who look pretty bad, so this archetype will need to run cards like this to be effective. Unfortunately, it only works during the battle phase. I guess it's good against certain things. I mean, any trap card, any like Alistair ability, it works against that. So you can surprise your opponent with this. Battleland Boxers do face the uphill struggle though, and this type of counter trap isn't great because it's only battle phase. Only can't really ambush your opponent by going first and setting this card and pretty much scooping at that point. That is the review of this whole box, the Rage of Volcano. Not a great box, but I would fish for it for some of the Xyz monsters. Like I said, the best rank 4 Xyz monster in Violent Die Sigma. And of course, you'll probably want to buy some of it for 3 copies of Battleland Boxer Veil. Otherwise, anything else is just for fun, for whales. People like playing these archetypes. Go have at it. That is it for the podcast this week. Upcoming news: Leo and Luna's Duel Carnival, new cards Skull Flame and Burning Skull Head to go along with the fire theme. Tour Guide Bingo, new SR card Baby Tiragon. Mid-December, new character Kaitenjo from Axel, number 10 Illuminite and Photon Crusher. Late December, Duel Chronicles 5Ds, Attack of the Dark Signer. New card Majestic Red Dragon and a new skill for Jack and Yusei. And late December, Duel Links Mission Research, new card called Curse of Darkness. That is it for the podcast. Next week, we're going to talk about Axel, Brodie's skills, and the new meta. Search this podcast anywhere you get your Duel Links content. All your favorite podcast sites, this should be there. All these notes are on the duelassessment.wordpress.com. Find me on Twitter at duel_assessment or me at GreenRangerCCG. Alright, thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.